Bill does.
I'm so glad and thankful for all that.
Well, how did that song, I mean, you co-wrote it with who?
With Bill Monroe,
Bill
father
Monroe.
of Bluegrass.
That's right.
Well, you know, that's a little bit of a long story, but I'll try to break it down a little bit for you. I worked for Bill back in those days for about 4 or 5 months. And back then they had the Friday Night Opry that was called the Friday Night Frolic.
Friday night. What was that out of?
It was downtown Nashville in the National Light Building.
Huh.
Upstairs.
Okay.
And so they had the Friday night thing there, and then they had the Saturday night opera down the right. So anyway, along the way, Bill sang the chorus of this song. And so I went home and wrote 2 verses to it. Came back the next weekend, and I said, Bill, I've finished that song that you had started. I said, well, let me hear it. This is all paraphrasing, but anyway, I sung it for him, and he didn't hear very much. Apparently he did.
Apparently he did.
And
Yeah.
he said, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. 2 or 3 years passed, and I went out one weekend with him to Columbus, Ohio, and by this time, the Country Gentlemen, who was a real big item in Bluegrass, had recorded a song called Secret Waterfall. That was the first song I had written that was recorded by a major artist. But anyway, Bill said, you know, I got this song you ought to finish. I said, well, let me hear it. So he sang the chorus that walks off.
You're kidding me.
He sang the chorus.
After you'd already wrote it, and he was acting like...
Well, no, he wrote the chorus.
Okay.
And that was all along. But anyway, I sang the other 2 verses, and he said, exactly what I'm looking for. I recorded that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And then the years passed, and as the story goes, so there you go.
How did they find it? How did the Kentucky Headhunters wander up on your song like that?
Well, as I understand it, Ricky, who was with the group then, was doing a little bluegrass.
So he discovered it from the Bill Monroe library, and then just decided to put a little twist to it.
Yeah.
And
they didn't change anything except the beat.
right, it gave it kind of that reggae little beat, but sped it up some.
And I got to give them credit. I think they added that beat to country music.
Yeah, that's what we were. I agree. We were talking about that. Kentucky Headhunters took the style, just say Southern rock maybe, or rock and roll, and turned it into what modern country. Basically, they changed country music to an extent.
It did. I believe it did.
I believe that. A lot of artists, and I believe that's why they had so much success also, Kentucky Headhunters, in the 80s and the 90s, because they were doing something completely different, and it crossed over. The rock and roll fans liked it, the country fans liked it, and the next thing you know, it opened the doors for so many other artists like Travis Tritt, who was doing crossover, and so many different bands. I mean, they were a cutting edge, and that song. Did you ever have any idea it would be as huge as it was?
None.
I mean, that was a huge hit.
None whatsoever. And I tell you, it's still a pretty big song.
It is.
Wise.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it still packs the floor out just last night.
Yeah.
You know, for us. So I appreciate you writing the song.
Oh, thank you.
Any other songs that you are you still writing?
Oh yeah, I'm still writing, and not only I guess quote unquote success has been as a bluegrass field.
Right.
And, Bobby Osborne has recorded 5 or 6.
Excellent.
And his latest CD he's out has got 2 on it.
Excellent.
So I've been blessed. I've been fortunate to all those other things.
Well, how did you wind up in the business? I mean, I'm going to just a little brief history here. I mean, Bill Monroe's huge. I mean, he's the father of bluegrass. You know, that's what they called him. I mean, he's like the king of bluegrass. How did you meet Bill Monroe?
Well, the guy who played mandolin with us, who lives in Roanoke, Virginia now, and he's a legend mandolin player. He knew Bill, and he knew Western Earl. I mean, he followed it, all that stuff. So he kept in touch with him. And Rural did too, Louis Arbor. And so they, along the way, during that period of time, Bill couldn't find enough people to go out and work with him all the time. You know, they just weren't available.
Right.
And
Were you playing at this time?
yeah, we had a band of our own.
So you kind of just fell in.
Yeah, and he needed somebody, you know, and he asked us, Rule and I, who'd go out to the band. Herschel couldn't go because he played mandolin himself. But anyway, we had a good time with it, and we were able to, we booked some things with Bill, and then we'd open for him, and then we'd back in when we
That's
were
excellent. Yeah, and that's the way it is. It's still done that way. I mean, musicians, no musicians. We were talking to. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it makes me think of the Mississippi All Stars. You know, their fathers were big time musicians, and that's their sons. North Mississippi All Stars, and one of them is playing with the Black Crows now, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how you get up there. That's how it's done. People know people.
Yeah.
And you're opening act, and next thing you know, you're, hey, I need you to work with me.
Around the shows here, you know, there's, you shake a tree and there's any kind of music there.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
And,
right.
and even though I don't play the kind of music that all I play, and vice versa from them to me, but still we know each other and we're friends with each other, and I'm proud of what they can do and have done. And so it's been good to have been brought up in the era that I came along with.
Jay, I appreciate the interview, and I don't want to take any more of your time up because I know there's a lot going on out there. I know that bungee, you said something about wanting to get on the bungee, the jumping out there.
That wasn't me that said that.
Are you sure? And then they got the riding bull out there. They got the bull that everybody
I didn't
rides.
say anything about that.
Really? Maybe it was the
David Johnson that was.
That's it. It could be that chicken on a stick he was wanting to jump on out there. That could be that. So anyway, folks, appreciate you. Thank you, Jake. And y'all come on out to the Chicken and Egg Festival here in Moulton tonight. And hopefully, we're not sure what's going on with the Black Oak, Arkansas, but we're going to try to get us an interview as soon as we can. Y'all just bear with us, hang in there, and we'll be right back in just a little while.
Thank you.